Clearwater environmental action goes back to when Pete and Toshi and the original crew had a vision to clean up a foul sewer of a Hudson River. When they built the boat, the very first thing they did was sail up and down the Hudson River and get thousands of signatures and then take that down to Washington, D.C., and that's considered the turning point in the passage of the Clean Water Act, which has protected water bodies across the country. Since then, we've had many other victories and some partial victories. For example, the Hudson River PCBs poisoned the upper Hudson River and washed downstream to the lower Hudson since the 1970s. And then that process actually occurred between 2009 and 2015. And yet it is ongoing. Even though the cleanup is probably complete in the upper Hudson, the EPA has signed off and said to General Electric, you've done as much as you need to in the upper Hudson, but the lower Hudson still has the PCBs that washed over the federal dam at Troy and are now subject to an investigation and remediation. Back in the 1990s, we worked on preventing a massive flooding of James Bay for hydropower. Hydropower can be very valuable, but flooding a massive area in James Bay would have released methane, and it was a terrible idea, and we helped stop that. In 2005, where we helped to protect the bald eagles who were being killed by collisions with high-speed trains, we brought all the parties to the table and started a carcass removal program, and that has led to a recovery of the bald eagles along the east shore of the Hudson River. We influenced the governor and the Department of Health to put a fracking ban in place in New York State. No fracking in New York, and hopefully within this next decade, no fracking anywhere. We were able to get a settlement agreement to close Indian Point. Indian Point had a long history. It was 40 years old, had a long history of various equipment failures and near misses. And rather than be relicensed for 20 years, a settlement agreement was passed, and Indian Point closed April 30th of this year. Not only do we want the safest possible decommissioning, we also want to ensure there's a just transition for the workers, and that the community itself has new opportunities for economic development that will contribute to the transition to a renewable energy economy with storage and efficiency. Another issue that Clearwater is very concerned about is preventing the expansion of a fracked fossil fuel burning plant on the Hudson River north of Newburgh at Danskamer. And we're working with a wonderful coalition, and that particular facility is in direct contradiction to the goals of New York State Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act. Not only do we want to prevent Danskamer, we want to prevent any new fossil fuel infrastructure and really actively promote the transition to a renewable energy economy. And we also are working to figure out a wonderful roundtable consensus building process to understand where low impact hydroelectric power generation is valuable and where we should take out dams to have a healthier watershed. So Clearwater is leading a 7-county regional renewable energy implementation planning process. How do we get from where we are to where we need to be? How do we fund it? And what actual steps for implementation do we take? Another thing that has happened over the years, as we solve one problem, another one emerges. And we are working with the Newburgh community to try to get a complete cleanup of their drinking water system, which was contaminated with PFOS from Stewart Air National Guard Base.
Hi, I'm Matt Sultan. I'm the Environmental Action Associate at Clearwater. EA work is really about bringing people into the democratic process. Without regular people coming in to give their community support and to give their opinions, decision makers don't know how to accurately represent their constituencies. We bring stakeholders and communities together to ensure that everyone is involved. As Pete Seeger said, when we have big problems to be solved, let's get everyone involved. It's the only way it can ever work, and I'm glad we're doing it at Clearwater.
So how do we accomplish all this? Well, we take a cue from our founders. We ask people to sign signatures onto a petition that addresses these many issues. And if they can't do it in person, then we can do it electronically. What Clearwater is really renowned for is educating decision makers. We hold congressional briefings, technical conferences, regional forums, and they are very well attended. They're very fact-based, and it provides people with the information, especially decision makers and elected officials, with the information they need to make informed decisions. So please continue to support Clearwater and find a way that you can participate in the environmental action work that is so essential to our mission. Thank you.